Good morning and welcome to CSLDallas Sunday celebration in a whole new style. We're radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives together. And has our entire Sunday service been transformed with everything that's going on these days? Huge shout out to Ryan Brown for making this possible. We want to begin with the invocation song, and this song is, I just want to tell you the story. The composer had come across the Atlantic Ocean, and his wife and children were planning to follow. This was when all transatlantic travel was by ship. And as his wife and children were following him on a boat later in the year, their boat sank. And so you can imagine that was pretty devastating. And so he was going back over, and the captain of the ship, when they reached the longitude and latitude where this sinking had occurred, he idled the boat and said, "This is where it happened." And it is in that moment that the composer wrote this song.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, Thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul.
So as we stay turned within, we move into that place that is behind the condition, under the fear, under the uncertainty. And it is in the deep and profound place of connection, of that one infinite power and presence, that we find our refuge, our safety, our security, our comfort. And so it is as we move into that place, into that deep inner knowing, that wellspring of life, we touch the wholeness. We touch the love. We touch the divine impulse of life itself as it moves through each and every one of us. And we simply stand in that deep and profound faith that says it is well. It is well with our souls. It is well with the souls of those that we love. It is well with the soul of humanity, that there is an awakening, an opportunity for love to be made manifest in ways that we cannot even possibly have imagined before. That there is a equalizing among all people, recognizing that each and every life matters,
Yes.
that each and every one of us belong,
Yes.
and that we are all part of the one human family. And we know that we are guided, guarded, and directed in the love, in the light, in the power, and the presence of the divine. And so as we go into our days, we affirm, declare, claim, and expect that it is well with our souls. And as this truth seeps into our being this morning, as we carry it through the rest of the day and the week, it allows us to move in the world with a deep and abiding love and appreciation for what is wonderful and beautiful right now in the midst of chaos and confusion. And so I invite us to close this invocation with Eddie Watkins singing, "It's a Wonderful World."
These songs come out of me, and you're the people that get it. Yeah. And that's why, I can do this for the rest of my life, because it's full and it's warm and it's meaningful. It has substance. And you take this vibration out into the world and make a difference. We're co-creating a better world. So I'd like to leave you with this stuff. I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright rusty day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also in the faces of veterans tonight. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? And what they're really saying is, and I do. myself. Someone I believe it. And then put a brother to see it up. You have a little bit to die. What? 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 Oh, yeah. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Man, I love that, not only the song, but I love that I can hear our entire community saying, I love you, and what a wonderful world, and to hear the energy as we're in this empty sanctuary. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. To hear y'all's voices is just priceless.
Yes, it's beautiful, right? And so what's so amazing is that it's still a wonderful world, right? It's spring and things are growing and blooming, and the trees are blossoming. We have a grandchild on the way. People are still getting married and they're still birthing babies. And it's the juxtaposition of living our lives in the midst of this incredible chaos and disruption. And so that's a lot of what we want to talk about this morning. We're in the middle of our Step Out in Faith program, and manifestation is not miraculous. And we're on the fourth step, do it. And it can be really challenging to do it, to be engaged in life and to do what we need to do in a powerfully faith-based way and really see whatever good there is to see in the midst of everything. And what is usually keeping us from doing that is the conversation we're having with ourselves in our own minds, right? And the way that we're talking about it. And the way that we're judging and criticizing and complaining and blaming and all of that now we can add fear onto all of top of that. And so to lighten the mood a little bit, again, you won't be able to see this on Facebook, but we will post the link as soon as the celebration is over. We'll post the link. Those of you who are on the Zoom, you will be able to see it. This is a fabulous Karen Drucker song, and this is a tribute we used to have a beautiful puppet ministry here. And so many of you will recognize this Karen Drucker with the Puppet Zone. This is what's going on in our brains. So take it away, Ryan.
She howls, she fights, she wants to take me down with all of her might. She growls, she snarls, but now I'm ready to put up a fight. I've been in therapy for 100 years, but there's a peace that I finally found. I've let go of so many fears, and she is not gonna kick me around. I'm taming my inner critic. You're not welcome here anymore. Oh yes, let me tell you, I'm taming my inner critic. Allow me, please don't laugh at me, to kick you out the door right over there. Just walk. She bitches, she complains. Her demands make me feel so insane. Every detail of my life is analyzed and sliced up with her knife. But you know what? I am woman. Just watch me roar with a force that she can't ignore. Every positive word I say gives me the power to chase her away. I'm taming my inner critic. You are not gonna win at this game. I'm taming my inner critic. If this is how you spend your day, boy, you should feel ashamed. Go ahead, blow.
Karen Drucker, we love you. We your music, and it's light and it's fun and it's funny, and all the ways in which we criticize ourselves. And yet this is the very thing that we're dealing with, right, in this larger experience. It's how we're engaging with it. It's how we're talking to ourselves in our heads, which becomes the way in which we act in the world, right? And so our step out in faith manifestation is not miraculous. Here we are, do it. So we've had the steps of believe it, see it, be it, which are really steps in consciousness. And now we actually have to work in the world. We actually have to engage with what is going on and how we are moving in the world. And so right here comes the place. Are we moving in the world from those things that we've built up? Mm-hmm. Or the minute that we are confronted with conditions and circumstances, challenges, obstacles, disruption and craziness, are we immediately thrown into all the ways in which we have talked to ourselves about things in the past? Blame, shame, victim, scared, fear, anxiety, right? And so here we are, right at this point. And so these are exceptionally challenging times, and we are here to support you each and every day, each and every moment going through these challenging times, because we really see that this is a powerful time to practice.
Yes.
Right? This is the time to practice our faith, practice our spiritual walk, practice our spiritual discipline, and really decide not only how are we going to think and engage from a spiritual perspective, like meditate and pray more, but how are we going to engage in the activities of our daily lives and all that entails right now. Ernest Holmes says this: it is not intended that we should spend all of our time in inaction, for the very law of our being is mind acting. An active thought will always find itself surrounded with intelligent, objective activities. Therefore, every act should become a prayer, as Brother Lawrence so beautifully expressed in his life, which was the conscious practicing of the divine presence. So in the book, the Brother Lawrence talks about, it's called Practicing the Presence of God. He was a monk in a Christian monastery in the 14th century, 15th century. They had a whole boatload of mystics all at that same time. And Brother Lawrence, well, he became so enlightened that they literally wrapped him in chains so that he wouldn't levitate while he was serving the soup and like get it all over the monks.
Okay, just really, that's a visual.
That's a visual, right? And so it became so well known that this book is a series of letters. The bishop said, please teach me. How do you do this? What is this about? And it's just a beautiful little book. And in one place he says, I can no longer tell the difference between when I am being required to be in my cell for daily prayers and meditation, Vespers, Compline, all the times that they were in that process. I can no longer tell the difference between when I'm in my cell meditating and praying on the presence of the divine and when I am in the kitchen scrubbing the pots and pans or in the stable cleaning up. Do you see? The sense of awareness of spiritual truth was so profound for him that every act was out of the spiritual truth that he knew and his experience of the divine presence. He goes on to say, I could not even pick up a piece of straw on the kitchen floor, but that God does it as me. And we are designed, we have to be it. And so even today, even if we're sheltering in place, even if we're at home and we're not able to engage in our work the same ways, or we are in different ways, right? the question is, how do we do it? And we spend a lot of time on the being part, right? The first 3 steps of manifestation is all about the internal. Now we have to do it, and so my favorite expression, and I don't know, might offend somebody. I'm not always about just being, like, oh, I'm just going to be, okay? Because I like to do. So I actually think that what we're doing is the old 60s, right, doo-wop, or what we're doing is the doobie-doobie-doobie-doo. We got to do and then be and then do and be and then do and do and then be, right? These 2 things are intimately tied together.
Yeah, now, if you're a cartoon fan, you might go, doobie-doobie-doo. Yes, they are intimately tied together. In our book of the month, The Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein, she's right in line with this, with Ernest Holmes, and she says, when we believe in a higher power, we can stop worrying, controlling, okay, I did say the C word, controlling, and obsessing over the how, the when, or why, and we can get out of the way and allow spirit to guide us. That which is within us can guide us, and that which is within us is like the macro, right? Mm-hmm. She says, we can let others help us. We can let others help us. Let intuition flow and create from a place of inspiration. Believing in spiritual guidance gives us certainty and the freedom to keep dreaming. So I love this. It's like, okay, we can stop worrying, she's telling us, and stop controlling and obsessing, like obsessing over how is this thing gonna play out? Okay, it's gonna play out. So we can stop obsessing over it, right? And we don't have to know the how, the when, or the why, and allow that inner spirit, which is the cosmic force and life itself. It's so big, that which is within us, to guide us, and then to let others help us. And that intuition, there's going to be many times where things just run through us. We don't know where they come from. It's either call this person or check this out online or whatever it is, and it's going to lead us to something, right? And that we can create from this inspired place, this place of inspiration, and inspire, be in spirit. Let that be that. And so allowing this spiritual guidance during this human condition time to lead the way, and to have the freedom of keep dreaming, like keep dreaming about, as I move through this time and this moment, on the other side, this is what my life is. To keep dreaming. I love that.
So what we're really talking about now is how we move in the world. And how we move in the world is based on how deeply we believe it, see it, and be it, right? It's the development of consciousness which provides the ground on which we stand and the place from which we come when we are engaged with, okay, am I prepared? Do I have everything I need? How am I going to do my job? What happened if my job has gone away? What if I'm concerned about my health? Right? All of the doingness. And so think, I think about this question. These are the questions I wrote down. What's the difference between panic and prepared? What's the difference between panic and prepared? Well, it's where we come from, how we take it up, right? Are we taking up getting prepared that we're going to need to shelter in place? Are we taking that up out of fear and, oh my God, I got to get mine, and there's and all of that stuff, and panicking about what does this mean and how am I going to do this? Or are we saying, I'm a Girl Scout from way back. Be prepared. Okay, so we're going to be prepared. What do we need? What do we need to do? Where do we need to go? How do we need to set ourselves up? And granted, it may be very, very different than our ordinary lives. But the other thing is, we do actually teach a teaching that says, change your thinking, change your life, right? And so our spirituality, our faith isn't about, oh, everything is perfect, therefore nothing is going to change. No, our spirituality is, the truth is the perfection of life moves in, through, and as us, so we can handle and embrace and create change
Yes.
in a conscious way. Do you see how different that is? It's not about trying to keep things from changing. They are changing, and we are going to be living for some short period of time here under very different circumstances. And so how
But it's
are...
not a lifetime.
Right, it's not a lifetime, but how are we going to do it? So what's the difference between peaceful acceptance? There is something really, really challenging going on and we have to deal with it, or anxious denial, I'm just going to pretend it's not happening and not get prepared, or angry resistance. Well, who's to blame? Who should I blame this on? Must be somebody else's fault. Right? And so the difference between peaceful acceptance is that we know that there's nothing too big for the infinite power and presence as it moves through us. This is why that spiritual guidance is so important. There's nothing too big. There's nothing too much that an infinite power and presence doesn't have the intelligence or the ability to move through. It is all the work that we done with the belief and be it. Do you see? It gives us the confidence that yes, actually, we can move through this. We can move with change. We engage with a powerful sense of I can do this. Spirit is with me. There's opportunities here for me to really practice my spiritual faith.
Yeah, and I know for me, what's really helpful is to stay in that engagement of reminding myself how to do this. I sometimes have to remind myself how to drive my car, even though I've driven it quite a number of times in my life. I still have to remember, oh, wait, turn on your blinker so that the person beside you is not upset, or behind you, or whatever. And so ways can either remind ourselves and or learn for the first time is in one of the most incredible courses that we teach here, and that's foundations. It is literally the foundation of the entire house in which it's built upon. And I took that class for the first time in 2007. And this is where it all begins. And every 5 years, we invite people to take this. So if you've taken it before, but you haven't taken Foundations class in the past 5 years, this is your time. I'm teaching it online, morning time. So this is Central Time. Starts April 6th. It's a Monday. They're on Mondays, starting at 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and or at night, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And when I took this class in 2007, what I learned in this 12-week class, I kid you not, I had not heard of the science of mind in this faith, philosophy, way of life. I used everything that I learned in that class when the recession hit, kid you not, in 2008. Okay? I bought a house in the Bay Area at the height of the market. 2 weeks later, it tanked. The recession hit, and everybody was talking about this R word everywhere in my life. But because of what I was learning and had learned in Foundations class, that was not my own reality. I moved through that in a way that actually I made more money than I'd ever made in my life because I stayed on these spiritual principles. So I am really encouraging. Zoom class can hold a lot of people, and breakout rooms and everything we need to do to be connected in small groups and one-on-ones and big group. So register for that Foundations class now.
Yeah, because we have to learn how to practice it, right?
do.
It's great to, kind of know the theory and feel good about it, but we have to learn how to practice it and how to apply it. Let's see, Gabby says this in our book, The Super Attractor. We've grown accustomed to the belief that our will is what makes things happen. But the secret to feeling good and manifesting our desires without struggling and suffering is to stop relying on our own strength. We do this by welcoming the power of spirit, the universal energy of love, to lead our thoughts and actions. Think of this as a collaboration between you and the universe. You no longer have to feel solely responsible for figuring out life, making all major decisions, and taking the actions on your dreams. As soon as you align your thoughts and energy with a loving guide, you will be given clear direction, creative solutions, radical inspirations, peace, and so much more. Do you see, when we're confronted with really significant changes in this pandemic, possible recession, this is no different on the global level as when we're confronted with these things individually and personally. And one of the significant pieces of how we do it is to do it in conjunction with that which is moving in, through, and as us. That we don't have to figure every piece of it out. We don't have to rely on our willpower. Well, I'm just gonna make something happen. And you know, I don't know about you, but I have found that to be exhausting.
Yes.
Right? We do have to set our intention. That's why that keep dreaming, set our intention, dream that we get through this well, dream that we get through this without significant damage to ourselves and each other, dream that we get through this and have a deep spiritual awakening personally and socially and globally, right? There's all kinds of dreaming we can do. And to really understand that, yeah, if we had to figure all that out, I'd go to bed and pull the covers over my head. I have no idea. But we're working with a power and a presence that runs the universe, for God's sakes, right? That's how infinitely intelligent it is. And when we are doing it from that place, we can remember that we're not solely responsible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ernest Holmes tells us developing confidence in ourselves and our ability to meet and handle all undesirable situations requires that we must have confidence in that something which is greater than we are. Then we will have spiritual self-reliance. Weakness will give way to strength. Despair will turn to hope. Hate will become love. Failure will become success. And sickness will dissolve into health. And here we are.
Yes.
Right here, right now. We are here at a place in this time in all of human history to have spiritual self-reliance. And so that then we have strength, we have hope, there is love like spreading everywhere in this moment, there's success, and there is health. I love that.
Yeah, it's a real promise, isn't it?
It's a promise, spiritual self-reliance, which it is that reliance upon the self, the big S self, that we each can rely on, which shares with us how to do it when we do that.
Right, that's the guidance part, right? When we're listening. That's the guidance part. Mm-hmm.
And one of the spiritual tools that I really want to share for all of us this morning, and everyone can learn how to do this, and you can teach anyone else how to do this. Peter's going to do it right now, as are you in this moment, is a spiritual tool that I turn to a lot, as long as I remember to. So we remember to do this. It comes from a dear friend and colleague, Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis from Seattle, Washington. Shout out to you. Thank you, Kathy Ann, so that I can share this, and because you taught me how to do this. So here's what I'd like everybody to do, including Petra. Okay, you're going to model this for us, all right? All you need is a chair, somewhere you're sitting, and to do this. So what I want each of you to do is I want you to think of a problem that is alive in your life right now. Like it is active, it's alive, you have a problem. I want you to bring that problem. It's okay. Don't be afraid to do this. I want you to bring this problem into your awareness and consciousness right now. You got it, Petra? Probably right now, there's not a lot of time needed. So I want everyone to have this problem in mind. And while you hold this problem in your mind and in your body and in your consciousness, I want you to look down just in front of you at the floor. I want you to look down. And Petra, since you're the one that I can turn to in this moment, I want you to share honestly what is going on for you right now as you hold that problem and look down at that floor. Tell me about what you're feeling, what you're sensing, what's going on.
Well, it feels heavy and, yeah, heavy and hard.
Heavy and hard. You can feel it. Yeah. Okay, great. Take a breath. Yeah, all
Hey,
right.
we're going to get you out of here soon, I hope, out of this.
So now what I want you to do is I want you to continue to hold that problem. Okay, don't let it go. You
Right.
still got it. And now what I want you to do is I want you to look straight out on the horizon over there as far as you can to that wall. Now I want you to tell me what it's like for you.
Well, I guess it doesn't feel so heavy and hard. It just sort of feels like it's there.
Everyone's doing this at home as well,
It's
right?
just kind of, it's like a fact, like reality.
Okay, lightened up a little bit, it's there. Okay, great, take a breath.
Okay, we didn't practice this, so I have no idea what we're doing, so that's all good.
Great, so now you're still holding the problem.
Right.
Okay, now what I want you to do, and wherever you are as well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to find the tallest spot you can find in the room. That's usually where the wall and the ceiling meets if you're inside. If you're outside, you got even further. But I want you to look up. I want you to look up at that spot where the ceiling and the wall meet. In all things, look up. And I want you not only to look up to that spot, but now I want you to imagine all the way through that spot, and you're seeing the sky and the cosmos. And I want you to tell me what's going on inside of you now.
Well, let's see. The problem has gotten smaller, much smaller, and possibilities and, yeah, doesn't feel contracted. It feels open and possible and, yeah, feels very different.
Yeah. So when you reflect on from here, looking down.
It's like a brick.
Right?
That's like
That's
a brick.
That's awful. I've heard people say I'm nauseous. I think I'm going to throw up. You know, I've done this with hundreds of people now. And in the medium, it was like, yeah, okay, better. In all things, look up. Our sacred text, the Bible says, in all things, look up. And so this is a tool that I am going to invite all of us to remember to do. In all things, look up. We tend to, as humans, look down. That's not so good. And when we look up, it's like looking to the heavens, perhaps, or looking to that which is greater than me, the universal presence, all of life itself. Things dramatically. So I'm inviting us. This is one of the ways to do it. In all things, look up.
Yeah, and it's amazing, you know, we are spirit, soul, and body, right? It's amazing how our bodies impact our mood, impact our understanding, our minds, right? And it's a wholeness. So we don't always only have to engage in this from a thought point of view, but from a very intentional action point of view. And of course, it is in our actions that we really demonstrate our choice. Right? Because there is something about intention which is energetically important, but an intention without action is what they say when intention now I can't remember it. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. There we go. The road to, right? And because those are intentions that have no action, involved with it. And so the act of looking up, right, is a physical engagement of our intention to look to the divine, to look to the larger something, to look to the guidance and inspiration from the intelligence of the universe, right? And so it's one thing to say those things, it's another thing to choose to do it, right? So I'm particularly also inspired by Albus Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series. You know, he's amazing, great quotes, lots of lovely things. And I love this quote from Albus Dumbledore. It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices. So we might have a lot of abilities right now to hunker down and to get prepared and to keep ourselves healthy and to, you know, or we might have a lot of ability to become anxious or upset, or, right? It is our choices that make the difference. Are we choosing to look up? Are we choosing to look for the good? Are we choosing to trust in the divine? Are we choosing to act in faith? Are we choosing to breathe, right? Just to breathe, and to, when we feel ourselves getting wound up and afraid, when we've watched a little too much news, been on Facebook a little too much, gotten a little too much of that stuff pouring in. Yes, of course you have to stay informed, absolutely. But again, there's a choice there, and looking beyond just that much information, and the choice to act on love, not on fear, and to so to do it, right? These are all opportunities to assess, where am I coming from? So that's always the question. In the doingness, am I coming from the belief that this will work out, that I live in an abundant universe and my needs are met, yes, that I am surrounded by healthy protection? Or am I coming from, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh, I just don't know. Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I can't figure it out. Oh, all my control is gone. Do you see? This is the same kind of choice as, are we looking down or looking up? And what truth or belief am I standing on? Am I believing in the conditions as the sole reality? They are reality, there's no question about it, right? They are the human condition and they are what we are experiencing. But are they the sole reality? Or am I standing on a belief that there is actually a larger reality that I can tap into that informs my doingness and allows me to do it from a different place? We might not actually do a different thing, right? That's the difference between panic and preparedness, right? It's not that we're not preparing, it's how are we doing the doingness?
The energy behind it, especially.
Yeah, the energy.
You can feel it if people are doing that, grabbing stuff in a store, or the stores we've been in, it's like everybody's so calm and just moving and preparing.
Right. And so the question is, how shall I move forward during this time? With blame, with fear, with anger, with anxiety, with just uncontrollable thought processes, or, right? We do the believe it, see it, be it, so that our doingness comes from confidence and faith that our actions support us and that our actions support all of humanity, that we are moving with personal responsibility, with intentionality, with confidence that, yes, we will get through this. It may be different personally in our own personal lives. It may be different in our community and in the world, but we can and will get through this. And so the other way of engaging with doing it, right? Are we open to new ideas, new inspiration, new creativity in the midst of change, right? Chaos is the most creative possible time. Think about that. Chaos is the most creative possible time. So we're in a great deal of disruption. So how can we unleash that creativity? How can we make lemonade, even if only in small corners of our life? It will make a difference. to find one place where we can do it differently, creatively, and make lemonade. I mean, right here at CSL Dallas, oh my God. I mean, the examples are enormous. We're getting to do all kinds of things that Karen and Ryan and the staff and we've been talking about for a couple of years. And all of a sudden we are forced
Thrown into the deep end.
to be creative. Like, how are we going to do this? So Ryan has 2 cameras up and 2 computers up and 2 speakers up because Facebook and Zoom are both so overloaded, they're not talking to each other right now. Right? So he has us one on Facebook and one on Zoom. Well, let me just tell you that a year ago, we didn't know how to do either one of those things. Then he learned how to combine them, and now he's learned how to separate them out, which is, of course, the issue that we had with the video. So now that's a whole nother creative piece, right? And we're learning, we've learned how to go online with our classes. We've learned how to stay in touch with you guys. We have all kinds of things. We're going to, believe it or not, we're going to start text prayers here in the next week or 2. It's just all these things we've been talking about. And let me tell you, that is what juices me. Right? The innovation, the creativity, the possibility of all of that. Yes, of course, there sneaks around the corners fear and how's it going to work out? And oh my God, it's happening to our community and we love them. And right. And I keep having to work with those things, but that's not where I'm going to come from in all of this creative innovation. And so whether it's a business idea or just how you're going to be with your kids at home or how you're going to creatively take care of yourself if you live alone, right? There's so much opportunity and possibility to make lemonade.
Yeah, so it's time to juice, everybody. Okay, one could look at this like, oh, there is big stuff going on. And this is the time to allow, look, life itself is so creative. There's not a spot in life where creativity does not exist. Everything that we get to play with in this life of ours on an individual, in our family, in a community, and all of life itself, it has all come from creativity. That is the absolute truth. Like, you want to know what is worth the most? Raymond Charles Barker says throughout the entire book, Power Decision, one of my favorite books, creativity, ideas are the things that are priceless. It's the idea that's worth millions. So here's a time for each of us, no matter what our background, no matter what our current jobs are or have been, maybe that shifted. We know that there are people without a doubt that have been laid off that can't work from home, and even people that can work from home, that may be changing very soon too. We don't know, but this is the time to allow creativity to soar in each of our lives. This is it. We can move through this time, each of us, and allow the creativity. So maybe you've wanted to bring a business online. Okay, even if you can't, quote, ship something right now, it's okay. Get that website up. Start talking to people. Watch videos, YouTube videos on how to. Maybe you've wanted to get into photography. Well, watch photography videos. There's a lot of them out there, so that when you want to go out in nature, you can do that. This is just, actually, it's a time to be creative and to let our creativity flow. And when we do that, we're not suppressing it, we're not holding it back, and life itself is flowing through us. That's going to inspire us, that's going to lift our spirits, that's going to increase our immune systems. It's going to increase the immune system of everyone around us in our household, you know, how we approach this. And this is the time to make the most best tasting lemonade that possibly imagine. And as we don't have to know how to end up, like the inspiration or this creativity, just start it. You may have the business or be your own boss when this is over, something you've dreamed of your whole life, to be an artist or a musician or whatever it is.
Learn a language.
Learn a language, like to then be able to travel to Spain and habla español and whatever it is. Like, this is a time where inspiration and creativity is awake and alive at one of its like best times.
Well, and we can feel the difference, right? We're either doing things to protect ourselves because we feel contracted, or we're doing things, creativity, right? You can expands us. It's very difficult to be contracted in fear when we're trying new things and when we're giving ourselves permission to do some of those things we've always wanted to do. It doesn't have to, it can be a new business. It doesn't have to be. Could be as simple, you know, you've always wanted to learn how to knit. I don't have any idea what it is, right? But the doingness, do you see, comes out of it. And, you know, there was this, all the way back into the Roman times, there was this idea that if we could create space in people's lives, if they didn't have to work so hard just to bring in the wheat and to take care of the sheep and to feed themselves and clothe themselves, that people would turn to creativity, to thinking great thoughts, writing, creation, crafts, beautiful expressions of themselves. I mean, that was a big push back in ancient Greece and Rome. And that was brought forward again in the Industrial Revolution, where we're going to have all these machines so people don't have to work so hard. And the idea was that that would create space for us to grow as humans, right? To have our spiritual being shine forth in the doingness of our humanity. And we have not always lived up to that promise or that possibility. But boy, do we have that opportunity today to do that, to do life in a little bit different way. And so, go ahead.
So this is the time to trust. In this doing it, to trust. And that becomes the operative word. And like, to trust that you can step forward, to trust that as you step on the path, that something rises to meet your foot. You're not certain about human actions right now and how everyone else is going to do it, or what decisions, or what are the governmental officials going to decide, but to trust in spiritual principle. And that's what gives us the solid footing.
Yes, and if you've already taken Foundations class and you want to go a lot deeper with this, come be on my Thursday night Creative Process in the Individual. It starts this week, and oh my God, is it going to teach us what it is we are trusting and why we can trust it. And I know what's true for many of us is that our heart and mind, our hearts and our intuition already knows. That mind that has that inner critic that goes, yeah, but, what about, yeah, but, I can't figure it out, I don't know. This class gives so much food to that part of us that is doing that it really helps it come online and align with our heart and what our intuition already knows. It's called the Creative Process in the Individual. How is it, how to trust it. And this will combat becoming paralyzed, despondent, or resigned. It will help you get involved with your life. Please stop binge watching, or at least manage your binge watching, manage your intake of news, and use this time, create something, do something new. This is a way to practice doing it from the idea that manifestation is not miraculous. We can, in fact, all learn how to do it.
And one of the things, another do it step I want you each to remember is, especially for those of you who are connected to CSLDallas and study and practice the science of mind, I want you to remember that you have a textbook. If you don't, I invite you to buy one. Kindle is still operating.
1938 edition.
1938 edition of the Science Mind textbook, various covers, all kinds of looks there, because this is a wealth of inspired stuff. There are meditations in here. There's chapters on physical conditions. There are good stuff on the teachings of Jesus from a metaphysical perspective. There's all kinds of stuff in here. And I just want to share, we sent this quote out to our community in email last night, but I want to share this for everyone. because this is significant. On page 282 of the Science of Mind textbook at the bottom, Ernest Holmes tells us and reminds us to stay with the one. This is our prayer. This is our prayer that I'm closing with. To stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. To desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. When things look the worst, that is the supreme moment to demonstrate to ourselves that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. When things look the worst is the best time to work, the most satisfying time. The person who can throw him or herself with a complete abandon into the limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. This is the time to know and to stand in that truth, to fling ourselves into that faith and our trust as we do it. And what I know is we each of us listening to this, each of us connected to this, and for every single one of us on this planet, right here and right now, no matter where we are, that this is the time where we each receive and reap the greatest reward.
And so it is.
So it is.